Hi, Martina. First of all, let me say thank you for requesting to do this interview. I am definitely most appreciative, and hopefully that your readers and listeners will also find it somewhat interesting. So here we go with the first question. So what am I working on right now? Well, there's a couple of things that I'm actually doing. I'm continuing to release music as LA BOUCHE. Last summer, we put out a single called The Rhythm of Love, which at one point earlier this year was being considered for a Grammy Award. So I will continue to do that. In addition to working on my solo project, MCCRAY, which I've released a few singles, one entitled Save My Life, I Keep Running, and more recently, Waiting. And here in the next few weeks, I will be releasing a new song called Even in the Rain, which is a really somewhat interesting story because Peter from Rosenstolz approached me about possibly rewriting this song in English. So with his permission, I did that. So I've shot a video and recorded a song, and it should be coming out here pretty soon. So stay tuned for that. Beyond that, I'm continuing to delve into the world of art, where I have been painting and actually selling some paintings, some for charity, some for personal connoisseurs of my art. And so I'm looking forward to continuing that movement into this year. In addition to touring again, and we've just recently started, last week we were in Switzerland for a festival. And so there are several upcoming shows this year. So things seem to be getting back to somewhat of a normal. And so that leads me to the next part of your question as far as the style of art that I prefer. I'm a pretty multifaceted kind of guy, so there are many kinds of art that are of interest to me. Probably I'd have to say though more the pop art kind of thing, more commercial. I like to see different renditions of people's take on, different works of art, whether it's Picasso or Dali or Rembrandt. So yeah, I'd have to say pop art. Well, so someone told you that I know how to cook. Well, I guess for anyone who reaches this point in their life, to sustain yourself, either you have someone cooking for you or what have you. But I enjoy cooking. It's to me, it's a lot like making music. There's no one particular thing that I enjoy cooking. It's just the fellowship of eating and having friends over and family over, preparing a meal for them, chopping everything, marinating, making sauces and things like that. But I think probably, growing up in the South, that was a part of our upbringing to learn how to cook. So I watched my mother and father in the kitchen. I watched my grandmother. My sisters are both, well, one of my sisters is a really good cook. So I've learned a lot from her. And, having, wined and dined, around the world and, seen and tasted all kinds of food, I've kind of just developed my own kind of eclectic style of cooking. But if I had to choose one dish that I do that's my favorite, I'd probably have to say soul food. And soul food is like a comfort food to the spirit. And that can be anything from like a pot roast, or as you call it here in Germany, like a boiled beef with macaroni and cheese, collard greens, or kale, quinoa. I really love gravies and sauces. I think that kind of brings a meal to life. and of course with, a salad, and a nice bottle of wine. How I dealt with Corona. Well, the end of 2019 was a pretty rough year for me. We were touring in the UK for the month of December, and received some pretty bad news about a friend of mine that had passed away. And so I was dealing with that, but I had to, push through and finish the year out. And after our New Year's gig, I came back home, and I had a couple of weeks before the next gig. So January normally is pretty slow. So we're looking at January of 2020. I was scheduled to go to Tel Aviv for a Google conference, and then on to Abu Dhabi and Dubai for gigs. And my manager called me and told me that those dates have been pushed back. I said, okay, that happens in business, no big deal. And then as the news starts to report about a virus, and so everyone's, watching the television pretty closely. And as you know, we artists, we make, the majority of our money touring on the road. And it's definitely one of those kind of things that you start to look at, because your money is being manipulated, pushed back, canceled, that kind of thing. So this is what began to happen. And originally I was a little upset about that. But then I thought about it, and I thought, okay, well, I've been working on or about since the age of 13 years old. And so I just said, okay, let me just go ahead and sit down and just relax and enjoy the fruits of my labor. And so as we push into 2020 and all the news starts breaking, people are on curfew, everyone's wearing masks, and everyone is pretty much afraid to talk to you, look at you, breathe on you, or anything. So I have to say that I was pretty fortunate to be able to be at home where I could at least get outside out here, in my garden, and relax with a nice bottle of wine or what have you. So I kind of took it in stride. It wasn't really difficult for me because normally during the week I'm at home anyway, and so that wasn't an issue for me. I did start cooking a lot more, and I did start eating a lot more, having a little bit more wine than before. And so the pandemic allowed me to, I'd say, probably gain about 35 extra unwanted kilos. I've since lost that, thank you. But it's, I feel kind of bad for a lot of the artists who were out there making a living, and that was kind of halted. I think I was fortunate enough to have written, several hit songs that garner residual income like on the regular. So financially, it was a little bit of a hit, but I think because of the history of success that I've had, I've been able to maintain. But it was difficult, and I'm now finally realizing the impact of what happened. It gave me a lot of time to do some soul searching. It gave me a lot of time to do a lot of writing. It gave me a lot of time to reconnect with my family and really get down to the brass tacks of what is really truly important in life. And it's not touring, and it's not success, and it's not money, but family, good, bad, and different, and getting back to me, to the guy that I know. So I don't know if I've discovered any new hobbies, because I have always had several irons in the fire, as they say. But, I did take some time out to learn some more about the production aspect of what I do as far as recording. So I go down that rabbit hole quite frequently. I'll get into my office and start to record, that leads from one thing to the other. And with new things. Not really anything new, just an ongoing continuation of the things that I know and love. So, plans for the future. My grandmother used to always tell me, she would say, son, there's two things that you should never worry about. One of those things was yesterday, right? And yesterday, because we can either be grateful for or sad for the things that happened yesterday, but we have absolutely no control over what happened yesterday. And so the other thing was tomorrow, which is yet unborn. The sun hasn't risen on tomorrow. And she told me that there is only one thing that you have to really deal with in life, and that's today. And it's only when we bring yesterday and tomorrow into today that we sometimes start to have problems or hiccups. And so with that, you can plan for the future to some degree, but until that day has risen, there's not really a whole lot that you can do about it. And I think everyone has the ability to deal with the highs and the lows of one single day. We just have to take it day by day, step by step, brick by brick, right? And so my plans for the future, obviously music is a huge part of who I am. It will always ebb and flow for me throughout the rest of my life. Music is my life, and I absolutely love it. And I'll just kind of wrap up what I said earlier about this new single, Even in the Rain, or the German translation, Auf den Regen, by Rosenstolz, is coming out here pretty soon. In addition to that, there'll be a release of an EP with the previous release song, Save My Life, I Keep Running and Waiting, with some bonus tracks on there that you have to stay tuned to hear. One of my wishes and my dreams has always been to live in a city where all my friends and family were, so we could just all be together. I know that's unlikely and not really possible, but the way that I would love to do that is through my music. And I would like to have this release of my record with simultaneously releasing new works of art to coincide with what those pieces are, and cater it, and have some good old soul food there for everyone to enjoy while they listen to the music, while they look at the art. But as far as like a cookbook, I'm gonna leave that to my good friend David Moore, who has his cookbook out. And you can check him out on My More Cooks. Thank me later for that plug. But I really would like to thank you, Martina, for the opportunity to answer these questions. I hope it was okay for you. Thank your readers and listeners for their dedication to your publication. And if there's anything more that you require of me, please don't hesitate to give me a call, all right? Ciao.